Okay, let's unpack this. We're about to look at something truly unique.
Yeah.
A digital snapshot frozen in time. The Internet Archive, it has this incredible record of websites over the years, right? And one capture in particular, stretching from January 1999 all the way to this past February, it gives us this unexpected window into the past.
It really is remarkable, isn't it? I mean, to have a web page preserved for that long, over 2 decades, it's like an archaeological dig, but for the internet. Holds echoes of how things were online, so many years ago.
Exactly. And the site we're diving into, it belongs to Pat Patrick of Mangus, Colorado Kennels. They bred American Pit Bull Terriers. Now, this isn't just like a nostalgia trip. Our mission here is to explore this preserved page and really try to understand what was important to this breeder, around the turn of the millennium.
Yeah.
What did they emphasize? What kind of language did they use? And what can we learn from that upfront claim? 30 years of breeding success.
Yeah, this gives us a fascinating perspective. It's a very specific niche, dog breeding back then. And having this single web page captured repeatedly, well, it lets us analyze their consistent messaging, their priorities. It's basically a primary source for understanding this breeder's whole approach and the values they projected online.
Okay, so let's start with who we're looking at. The name Pat Patrick and the kennel name Mangus, red shirt, Colorado Kennels.
That little red shirt. Any initial thoughts? Why might that be there?
That kind of detail, it often hints at something personal, doesn't it? Or something recognizable within their community. Could have been a nickname, maybe, a way to stand out, or, even a subtle nod to a particular line of dogs, or a kennel tradition. It's one of those little things that adds intrigue to their branding.
Definitely. And then there's that strong statement, 30 years of breeding success. Given the first captures from 99, that suggests a breeding history going way back, late 1960s perhaps.
Yeah. In a time before the internet was everywhere, that kind of longevity, that must have built a lot of trust within the community, right?
Absolutely.
It implies, well, a history of consistent breeding, maybe navigating changes in the field.
That established history would have been a huge asset, a really powerful thing. And then you see this really direct statement. If you want a real Pat Patrick bred dog, not a generic copy, call us. That concern for authenticity, it really speaks volumes about reputation and lineage in this world.
Yeah, it does.
It suggests the Pat Patrick name, well, it carried some weight. And the explicit mention of being ADBA exclusively, that reinforces it too. Likely showing commitment to the American Dog Breeders Association standards and registry, a key group for the breed.
Okay, now the page moves pretty quickly to bloodlines, and Bolio dog is highlighted right there in bold. There's even a line, don't get counted out wishing you had a Bolio dog. It really sounds like owning a dog from the Bolio line was, well, a big deal. Highly desirable.
No question. That prominent placement, the almost cautionary tone, it just underscores the prestige tied to the Bolio dog lineage. And right after that, they mention Bolio ROM bloodlines. They connect it with the best stud dogs in the country and great females. The ROM here, it almost certainly stands for Register of Merit.
Okay.
In dog breeding, that usually recognizes dogs who've produced a significant number of offspring earning titles, in competitions or activities. So mentioning Bolio ROM bloodlines, that signifies a lineage with a proven track record, producing successful dogs.
And it wasn't just Bolio. They also emphasized the Maloney dogs and the Clouse dogs as important lines, especially for their females. It feels like they were working with a very specific, established set of foundational lines.
Exactly.
These names, Maloney, Clouse, they would likely carry specific weight within the APBT breeding world, wouldn't they?
Oh, precisely. These bloodline names would likely be well known, respected within that community, each representing, specific traits, characteristics, breeding histories. Combining these lines like that, it suggests a very deliberate breeding strategy, aiming for particular outcomes in their dogs.
Let's delve into that strategy a bit more. The page gives us some history. It mentions a foundation built on Great Burt class dogs and some of the Stabler blood, which were then crossed with the Bolio ROM dog. It's almost like they're laying out the core recipe for their breeding program.
Yes, it's definitely a narrative of careful selection, planned pairings, and the subsequent acquisition of Tombstone ROM, integrating that into their program. It further shows their commitment to bringing in, influential genetics. The emphasis on family breedings is also pretty notable.
Right.
This practice, often called line breeding, involves breeding closely related dogs. The idea is to reinforce desirable traits, maintain consistency within their line, though of course it requires careful management to avoid potential genetic pitfalls.
But they weren't completely closed off, were they? They mention specific outcross exceptions, like the no regrets dog. They even give a quick history of that dog's lineage, connecting it back to the Crusher and, again, the Bolio blood.
Yeah.
It seems like they were very selective, very intentional about when they brought in new lines.
That's a key distinction, yeah. Even breeders who really favor line breeding often see the value in occasional outcrosses. To bring in new genetic diversity or maybe specific traits they're looking for, the fact they specifically name no regrets and connect it to their established lines, that shows a thoughtful, documented approach to managing their gene pool. And then the reintroduction of the Corvino via no regrets.
Right.
And then reacquiring Patrick's Domino with heavy Maloney bred dogs, it just further emphasizes this ongoing process, refining and shaping their bloodlines over time.
So after detailing all these specific crosses and reintroductions, they state their core belief that they can maintain the stability of our lines by continuing as we have for over 30 years.
Ooh.
That really speaks to a long-term commitment, doesn't it, to their established philosophy?
That statement, it truly encapsulates the dedication involved in this kind of breeding, this selective approach. It's all about striving to create and maintain a consistent line, predictable traits, generation after generation. The 30 years isn't just a claim. It's presented as, evidence of the success and stability of their specific methods.
Now let's look at some of the individual dogs they highlighted. Patrick's Red Baby ROM. She gets this incredible description, the one and only, and the finest female to ever look through a collar. Even putting her in the same league as Bolio and Tombstone. That's incredibly high praise in this community, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. That passionate language, it really conveys the profound importance of certain dogs within their program. Patrick's Red Baby ROM was clearly foundational, a key female. And that ROM designation, again, it just underscores her significance as a producer of quality offspring. These weren't just animals to them. They were key components in building and maintaining their genetic legacy.
We also see mentions of Patrick's Toothless Jack and sons of Patrick's Rick Rude from Patrick's Black Beauty. And it's noted that Black Beauty's parents, Late Puppy Jr. and Dirty Mary ROM, were both bred by them and held titles like Sri for Champion and ROM. This really emphasizes the value placed on achieving those kinds of recognitions.
Precisely. Those titles, Champion, Register of Merit, they serve as really important markers of success. A C often means success in confirmation shows, judged on meeting the breed standard, while ROM signifies, as we said, proven ability to produce quality offspring. Highlighting these titles, it adds credibility, showcases the caliber of their dogs. And the fact that they bred both the sire and dam of Rick Rude's offspring, that further demonstrates their deep involvement, shaping their lines.
The page also includes a link to a page of History Great Dogs of Today and Yesterday, features Patrick's Bullboy Bob ROM. And there's a note about Patrick's Red Bull being well known in Puerto Rico, and Eldos Bits Cortaro as the sire of other notable dogs like Patrick's Homer ROM and Patrick's Handsome. It's almost like a digital hall of fame from their own dogs, showing their impact.
Exactly. These mentions serve to further establish the reputation, the reach of their bloodlines, highlighting dogs that achieved recognition or produced significant offspring, both, domestically and even internationally, like Puerto Rico. It's a form of pedigree marketing, really, demonstrating the lasting influence of their breeding choices.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. The website itself, the way it was set up, offers some interesting clues about how they operated back then. There are links to pups that are available, message board announcements, and see my photo pages.
Yeah.
In the early days of the internet, before fancy e-commerce, these kinds of simple online tools must have been crucial for connecting with buyers, right?
Oh, absolutely. Message boards were often these central hubs for sharing information, building community within niche groups online. And those photo pages, well, however basic they might seem now, they would have been essential for potential buyers to get a visual impression of the dogs.
Right.
It just reflects a more direct, maybe less polished era of online interaction.
And here's a fascinating detail. They had a reward program offering a free pup if your Patrick bred dog earned a championship. In various disciplines too, weight pull, agility, herding, even flyball.
Oh.
But there was a condition. Please review our policies on my message board prior to acquiring a dog or pup from us. That suggests a pretty structured approach to this incentive. What does that tell us about their priorities?
That reward program is a really insightful detail. It's not just about selling puppies, is it? It's about actively encouraging, celebrating the success of their dogs in various performance areas beyond just looks.
Yeah.
It also probably fostered a sense of community and an ongoing connection with their buyers. And requiring people to check the message board for specifics, it just highlights again how important that online forum was for their communication, their business practices. You don't see that exact kind of reward offered much today, which makes it a really interesting snapshot of that time.
And finally, the practicalities. They listed a phone number with specific calling times and mountain time, a P.O. box, an email address. It's a blend, isn't it? Traditional and emerging communication methods. And there's even a copyright notice for Patrick Mangus Colorado Kennels and their dog logo. So they were thinking about brand identity.
That contact info, it underscores a direct line of communication. Emphasizes a personal touch, probably, in their interactions. The copyright notice, including the logo credit, yeah, it shows they recognize the value of their branding, their intellectual property, even in that earlier online environment. And the mention of photos of specific dogs being interesting to fanciers. That confirms they knew their audience, catering to knowledgeable, passionate people within the breed.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into this preserved webpage, what are the key things that really stand out about this digital artifact?
Well, this website, it provides an incredibly valuable glimpse into the world of a dedicated American Pit Bull Terrier breeder right around the turn of the millennium. We see a really strong emphasis on established bloodlines, a carefully documented, long-standing breeding philosophy, and a clear understanding of the importance of reputation, community within their specific niche. The language used is, well, direct, confident, reflects a deep knowledge of their craft, I think.
And what were some of the elements that you found particularly surprising or noteworthy?
Well, the sheer fact that this webpage has been archived for over 2 decades is quite remarkable in itself. It's really a testament to the unintentional historical record the internet has become, isn't it?
It really is.
Also, the continued relevance and recognition of these specific bloodlines, Bolio, Maloney, Clouse, even now within this community, that's a powerful indicator of the lasting impact of focused breeding programs like this.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Even if, you have zero interest in dog breeding specifically. The principles of selective breeding, meticulous record keeping we see here, they could have parallels in other fields where lineage and specific traits are valued. What can we maybe learn from this kind of long-term dedication to a specific pursuit as it was presented online over 20 years ago?
Yeah, this digital footprint, it really raises fascinating questions about how niche communities evolve, how they maintain traditions over time, and how the internet, almost by accident, serves as this vast archive of specialized knowledge, specialized practices. It really makes you wonder what other seemingly ordinary archived websites out there might hold equally compelling stories just waiting to be uncovered.